guys, ClutchBang37 here. If you saw my last video, I showed you guys my game sticks and told you guys I would give you a walkthrough, kind of a step-by-step of me creating my new box gamer, and then I'll talk to you guys about the pocket. So this video is probably going to take a handful of 3 or 4 days or so, based off of my schedule. You know, it's about 3:40 now. My girlfriend comes home around 5. She's taking a test to get certified for something for work. She's a general manager of a Chick-fil-A and has been for 5 years, so if she gets this, then chances are, you know, she'll get a raise and she'll be certified to do other sorts of things throughout Chick-fil-A, and that's just what her passion is. So if everything goes as planned, then we'll probably go celebrate and go out to dinner tonight. And then tomorrow I work 2 to 11. Wednesday I work and then have a lacrosse game. And then Thursday I work 11 to 7. So I'm going to try and do this piece by piece and try and get it taken care of and finished up within the next 2-3 days or so. Get strung up and out in the field with it. So first things first, we're going to go with a command low. Once I string it up, I'll tell you guys why I chose a command low for box and the pocket placement. But long story short, I love the face shape, how wide it is, and the stringability of it really makes it easy to get a nice mid to mid-high baggy pocket for box that we'll get into in a second. So first things first, I went through Silhouette Cameo. That's what my vinyl cutter is, and made up all the vinyl I want to do for it. Going to do a Canadian theme and implement my number to it. I'm not Canadian. I wish I was. Box lacrosse is the national sport of Canada, and if I could play box over field, I would any day. If I could go back in time and have my mom move to Canada and find a Canadian lacrosse player to have me with, to where I grew up in Canada and played box, I probably wouldn't hesitate. I'd probably just tell her to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to show you guys here. Nothing too crazy. It's just a very generic, you know, you got some maple leaves, some 88s, things here I'm going to do for a flag of the top, and then my number there, a little larger so I can put it on the scoop. Next thing I'm going to do is cut the vinyl and place it on the head. Alright guys, so we're on the second step. I cut the vinyl. I use Oracle 651, so if you have a vinyl cutter or you're looking to pick one up, that's the vinyl I would definitely use 100%, not the store type or any other kind. So I got right here, this is the vinyl I'll cut out, so some maple leaves, some 88s, and 2 random bars, which I'll show you guys why in a second. And here's going to be the actual flag itself. I had a couple of fun ideas for what I was going to do with this here while I was driving to go pick some stuff up for my mom's, and you know, after you get the vinyl and you get ready to do it, you can kind of lay it out and get the idea. So my idea is going to be, bottom's going to be red, white, and black fade from the top down. My number 88 is going to be in white, and the maple leaves are going to be in red. And up at the scoop is going to be the Canadian flag, but instead of having the maple leaf up top, it's going to have my number 88 on it, and then 2 red bars, and then mask this whole off. So it should be pretty fun and somewhat simple to do. What I like to do to get these logos off is you can do, I think nail polish remover works if you let it sit there and you really work with it. What I like to do is I get a green scrubby. It's similar to a sponge, but it's a little rougher. You don't want anything too rough because you don't want to scratch the head. But something that has a little bit of a texture to it. And I take some goof off. Just a very small amount. I just kind of spray it on the top part of the head, let it sit for like 20-30 seconds, and then kind of scrub at it. As you scrub it off, the black stuff will start to get onto the head. All you have to do is wash it off with some water, and keep scrubbing with soap and water. And before you put any vinyl or anything on the scoop, after you do that, you really want to wash it off with soap and water as best you can and let it dry. And then after that, I wash it again just to make sure all the goof off is gone. If you leave goof up at the top, or there's a little bit of residue, the dye will not penetrate it, so you'll have a little funny looking thing. So that's what I did for the scoop. Took the ball stop off, and now I'm going to lay the vinyl and then show you guys how it looks with the vinyl on it. Alright, so I got all the vinyl laid off. All I have to do is a little bit of hot glue and then put in the dye. So basically you can see on the bottom there's a bunch of 88s, just crazy patterns, nothing too interesting, kind of going for like a camo-like look. Up at the top, I'm going to have 88, and then I'm just going to mask off these 2 outer portions right here with hot glue. That way the 8s are red, and then these 2 stripes are red, and the rest could be white. On the back I put my last name in big bold letters. That way, you know, it's a personalized stick, and it kind of sticks to you know, my last name. I'm not a big fan of last names on jerseys or stuff, but you know, at least this way it, I don't know, kind of stands out. And I didn't want to leave the whole back red. So now I'm going to throw it in the red dye, pull it out, leave it in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes. That way it kind of shocks the plastic back into rigidity, and then lay down the maple leaves and go in black. Alright guys, so I just pulled the command low out of the freezer after I dyed it up red, and the top part came out almost perfect in my opinion. I think it looks great. It sparks an idea for maybe a different dye later on. But anyway, on the back right there you see it says Davis, and it's just kind of a red, big old solid red line, nothing too crazy. And on the front it's all white, 2 red stripes, the number 88. Very cool. I think maybe sometime in the future I may do a all white head with a very minimal amount of colors. Maybe for the next spring season just do my number and then 2 stripes and then stripes down here. But here on the throat you can see the 88 stickers are still there. Now all that's left to do is let it dry, put on the maple leaves, throw in the black dye, pull it out, string it up, and we'll be good to go. So little tip here, as you can see right here, these fade lines are right here. That's from the steam in the water. The dye gets trapped in the steam and kind of travels up the head, especially if you do a head where you dip one part in color and the other part in the color. The steam tends to go up and down throughout the head, so you get that small fade line. Very easy to fix if you pull it out and you use some goof off like we used on the scoop. Did we use goof off on the scoop? I don't remember. But like we did, I did use it on the scoop. I just don't know why I said that. But if you use a little bit of goof off here on the sides, you should be able to catch and get most of it off. It may be very faint, but at the end of the day, if you're looking straight at the head, you can't tell at all, so I'm not too concerned about it. And once it's strung up, it'll really just, hide that. So next, we're going to throw on the maple leaf, throw on the black. I'll pull it out, peel the stickers off, and show you guys where it's at from there. Alright guys, so here's the finished dye product. So we got 88 up at the top, 2 red stripes, nice white scoop up here. Back it says my last name, Davis, and then here on the throat it's a red, black, and white fade. It's got 88s in white, a bunch of red maple leaves in red, obviously red maple leaves in red. And right here I did a bar for the CF37, just inverted what I normally do when I dye heads. So a little fun fact and a little tip for you guys if you're going to start dyeing heads. What I like to do to make sure that the heads stay as stiff as possible is whenever you put the head in, I don't put it in for more than 2 or 3 minutes. And then after you throw it, or you rinse it off in cold water and throw it in the freezer. What that does is it kind of shocks the plastic back into rigidity. And my rule of thumb is whatever time you put it in the dye, you put it in the freezer for twice as long. So the scoop took a little longer. I used Lax Dip Fire Red, I think it is. It's hard to get a nice dark red with that one, so I had to do about 25 minutes total of dyeing, so about 3 minutes in, 6 minutes out, vice versa, and just keep on going until I got the red throughout the head. The black was a little easier. Jet Black from Lax Dip works wonders. It took about 6 minutes total in the dye, so about 18 minutes to do total. But also what I like to do after I dye heads is I peel off the stickers, I rinse them in cold water and throw them in the freezer for another 5 to 10 minutes. Just kind of help keep it as stiff as possible. Sometimes, depending on how long heads are done, I throw them in the freezer overnight. That way they have a whole 10-12 hours to sit in the freezer. It doesn't make them as stiff as they used to be, but it still stiffens them up a decent amount. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the freezer, and then I'm going to string it up and talk to you guys about the pocket I did and why I did it. So in my opinion, I think this dye came out pretty flawlessly in my opinion, or at least what I was looking for. The black fades into a very small amount of red right here. Really hard to see on the camera, but just kind of gives that whole fade aspect going. And the 88s and the red Canadian flags came out awesome. Scoop itself is really cool, and the last name. Not a big fan of putting last names on heads, but I figured I've never done it before, and it would kind of match box jersey, so why not? So now I'm going to string it up, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the pocket I threw in it. Alright guys, here's the finished product. It is my gamer for box. It is a Canadian theme command low. I was going to do a time lapse of me stringing it, but when I do those, it takes about 15 minutes for me to string up something like this. And if I fast forward, I like to play music. I didn't want to make this video 20-some minutes long, so I figured I'd just string it up and then talk to you guys about the pocket after. So again, the actual pocket itself, I've used a couple of John Grant Jr. sticks. I've strung up some replicas, actually a decent amount of replicas in his Mark IIV. And back in the day with Mark Matthews with his his Evo X from college, I want to take a couple of those ideas and put them into one head, because I like the Mark Matthews head and I like the John Grant Jr. head, but I just want to make it a bit of a combination of both and add my own twist and flair to it. So, getting the actual pocket itself, it's with Hero 2.0 red striker, 4 white shooting strings, and all Hero strings going around it. The pocket itself is very shallow, but it's very shifty. So I guess I'll start from the top. The top string is a 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the command low. I did the inverted Mark Matthews style where it's you go through the mesh, then the head, then the mesh, then the head, and lock it in. The reason I do this one for some of the sticks that I do for box is as you play with it, it loosens up a little bit over time. It allows for a bit more snap to the ball. This loosens up a bit and adds a bit more feel, which is something I'm a huge fan of. I do it in all my game sticks. I like to have a loose top. But for box, I want something that's really tight but still will have a little bit of snap to it. So that's what I did there. And then going down, I borrowed some techniques from Mark Matthews' old Evo X from his college days, where he did the 4 top diamonds, or I don't know what they're called, but it's where you 9-diamond SI, I think that is. Yeah, we'll just call it 9-diamond SI. If you've been around the lacrosse community, you've seen how he used to string his sticks. That's what I did for the first 4. If not, go look it up. It's easy to find. But basically, tie on the third, I skipped 2 holes. Oh no, I skipped 1 hole. Did 2 9-diamond SIs. Skipped another hole. Did another 2. The reason I do that is because this allows for the top part of the portion of mesh to be extremely tight, but still have a little bit of give to it, and it also keeps it very consistent, which is something you need for box. Then going down from there, I wanted to do a similar to Mark Matthews stick, but also a little bit of John Grant Jr., how he has just an overall banana of a pocket where it's pretty much everywhere. So I skipped 2 more holes, and I did a stacked SI. Then I did a 1 SI, an SI, and then I finished off with a 1 down here. So as you can see, the pocket is extremely shallow. In fact, here's a ball. So I mean, it's really shallow, but as you play with it more, it'll stretch out some. And what's funny about this is I actually did 11 diamonds going down the pocket, which typically, if you string any stick, that's going to give a very deep, baggy pocket. But if you tension the mesh perfectly and very well, you can use 11 diamonds and still get a shallow pocket. The reason I like the command low for box is it's a bit of a longer head, and the release point and the way it's shaped, it allows for a very smooth, accurate release, but also a very baggy pocket. The command low itself is made for mid to mid-low pockets, hence the name command low. And with that, the head shape is very triangular. If you saw my review, you'd probably hear me talk about it a lot. But I like that because the scoop itself is very flat, and we do 9-diamond SIs for the first 4 or 5. It really makes the mesh extremely flat and really channeled, which is good. Getting the actual stick itself, I like the baggy pocket that Mark Matthews used, or not the baggy pocket that he used, John Grant Jr. uses, because the ball is able to shift wherever, and once it hits this tension point, it's going to come out as accurate as possible every single time. So that's where the 9-diamond or the 10-diamond stacked SI comes into play. Since it's lower in the head, the ball's able to sit nice and low, also help with the command low head itself, but it's also going to shift nice and high and have a bit more snap and hold once you get it right here. So 11 diamonds down, and the bomb string is on the 9-diamond there. So overall, it's just an extremely baggy pocket. I borrowed the baggy pocket idea from John Grant Jr. stick, and then the string ability, or the stringing interlocks, as you could call it, from Mark Matthews. Combine them both to make a very nice baggy head. One thing I like to do with a lot of my sticks, actually all my sticks recently, is add this little cheater bottom string portion here. But with this box stick, instead of stopping it down here, I brought it all the way up to the middle portion of the head. And what that's going to do is, if I'm cradling one-handed, or I'm protecting the ball like this, or I'm in traffic and the stick's sitting like this, it adds a bit more grab for the ball to sit right here. So instead of hitting the head or whatever, it's going to add a bit more grab. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but it's just a little thing I like to do with all my sticks. So yeah, that's about it. The shooting strings are just like Mark Matthews does, where the top 2 are really tight. Third one's loose and the fourth one's extremely loose. This allows for a bit more grab, but also a nice, smooth, accurate feel. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my step-by-step of how I created my own box stick. Maybe if you guys play box and you have a command low, you want to try this pattern out, I definitely would suggest it. One thing I do recommend is when you string it up, after you string the pocket, don't put the shooters in, but stretch the pocket, especially right here on these catch points on the outside. That way it doesn't have too much hold or whip. And you should be able to get a shifty mid pocket that goes everywhere. Great for box, has a lot of feel to it, but also very smooth and accurate. So that's why I use the command low for box. That's how I dyed up this head. Like I said before in the earlier video, 88 up top with 2 red stripes like the Canadian flag. My last name here on the back in big bold letters. White fates, or red and black with white 88s around it, and red Canadian maple leaves. And then down here, nice little 88. Red Striker Hero 2.0 mesh, very shallow, shifty mid-bag pocket. So yeah, I think in the future I'm going to do more videos of creating my game sticks or creating personalized sticks. You know, if it's not a USA one or a wood grain, it's something special for someone that takes some time and effort. I'll definitely do some videos on that. Let me know in your comments down below what you guys think about the command loafer box, if you guys think I'm right or wrong. I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll disagree with me, but that's just how I feel and that's how I like it. So anyway guys, thanks for watching again. Sorry this video is going to be about 15 minutes, but there's a lot going into it, and you know, a head like this that's super personalized and takes a lot of time and effort to string up the pocket that I wanted, a lot of stuff to cover. Thanks for watching guys. For the 5th time, I will create more videos with cool custom die jobs, game sticks, things like that, and see you later.